When most people talk about anxiety, they describe it as worrying too much or feeling nervous. But if you've lived with anxiety, you know it's so much more than that. It's not just butterflies before a big presentation. It's not simply overthinking. It's your heart racing out of nowhere. It's lying in bed at 2 a.m., replaying every mistake you've ever made. It's that tight knot in your chest when nothing's even wrong, but everything feels wrong. It's exhaustion from pretending to be fine when inside, you're not. Here's the truth. Anxiety is far more complex, misunderstood, and silent than most people realize. And it's time we talk about the parts of anxiety that no one talks about, the hidden truths, the daily struggles, and the real ways to navigate it. Because when you finally understand what anxiety really is, you can start to loosen its grip and take back your peace of mind. 1. Anxiety isn't always visible. From the outside, people with anxiety can look completely calm. They can be the funniest in the room, the most successful at work, or the most supportive friend. But inside, their mind might be running 100 miles an hour, battling racing thoughts and silent panic. That's the tricky part. Anxiety doesn't always look like shaking hands or heavy breathing. Sometimes it looks like perfectionism. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. Sometimes it looks like being the strong one who holds everything together for everyone else. Never assume that because someone looks fine, they're not struggling. 2. Anxiety isn't just mental, it's physical. Here's a truth most people don't realize. Anxiety doesn't just live in your head, it lives in your body. The tension in your shoulders, the upset stomach before a meeting, the headaches, the pounding heartbeat that feels like it's trying to escape your chest, the constant fatigue from your nervous system working overtime. That's because anxiety activates your body's fight or flight response, flooding you with adrenaline as if you're being chased by a tiger, even when you're just opening an email. Understanding this is powerful. It means your body isn't betraying you, it's trying to protect you. The challenge is teaching it that you're safe. 3. Anxiety isn't weakness, it's overprotection. People often think anxiety means you're weak, but in reality, anxiety is your brain doing its job too well. Your brain is wired to scan for threats, to keep you alive. Anxiety is when that alarm system gets stuck on high alert, ringing even when there's no danger. It's like having the most loyal guard dog, but it barks at every shadow. So if you've ever beaten yourself up for being anxious, remember this: your anxiety isn't weakness, it's overprotection. 4. Anxiety can steal the present. One of the hardest truths about anxiety is how it robs you of the moment you're in. You could be at a dinner with friends, but instead of enjoying it, your mind replays that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago. Or maybe you're lying on a beach, but instead of relaxing, you're spiraling about what could go wrong next week. Anxiety pulls you out of now and drags you into a storm of what-ifs and should-haves. And the only way back is learning to gently ground yourself in the present, through breath, awareness, or gratitude. Because life only happens here, not in the what-ifs. 5. Anxiety isn't always loud. Sometimes it's numbness. When people think of anxiety, they picture racing thoughts and panic attacks. But sometimes anxiety doesn't feel like intensity. It feels like nothing. Numbness, disconnection, a blankness where emotions should be. That's your brain shutting down from overload. This is why anxiety can sometimes look like depression. They overlap, and both drain your energy and joy. If you've ever felt too exhausted to feel, know this: it's still anxiety, just wearing a different mask. 6. Anxiety doesn't always have a reason. Perhaps the most frustrating truth about anxiety is this: sometimes it just shows up. You can be having a perfectly good day and suddenly your chest tightens, your heart races, and your mind fills with dread. People might ask, but what's wrong? And the honest answer is, nothing. That's the part most people don't get. Anxiety doesn't always need a trigger. Sometimes it's simply your nervous system misfiring, like an alarm going off in a room with no fire, and that doesn't make your experience any less real. 7. Anxiety can be both a burden and a gift. Here's a paradox few talk about. While anxiety is exhausting, the same sensitivity that causes it can also be a gift. People with anxiety are often more empathetic, more detail-oriented, more creative, and more prepared for challenges. That hyper-awareness, when managed, can be a strength. The goal isn't to get rid of anxiety entirely, it's to learn how to quiet the noise while keeping the wisdom it offers. 8. Coping isn't about stopping anxiety, it's about calming it. One of the biggest misconceptions is that you should aim to completely eliminate anxiety. But here's the truth. Anxiety is a natural human emotion. You can't erase it. The real goal is to learn how to manage and soothe it. Some powerful daily tools include breathing exercises. Slowing your breath tells your brain you're safe. Movement. Walking, stretching, or exercise helps release pent-up adrenaline. Grounding techniques. Focus on your senses. 5 things you see, 4 you feel, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, 1 you taste. Limiting stimulants. Too much caffeine and sugar amplify anxiety. Writing it out, journaling takes racing thoughts out of your head and onto paper. These tools don't erase anxiety, but they help you ride the wave until it passes. 9. Healing. Anxiety requires both patience and compassion. Perhaps the hardest truth, anxiety doesn't vanish overnight. It's not like flipping a switch. Healing is a journey, a slow rewiring of your mind and body through consistent practices, healthier habits, and sometimes professional support. And along the way, you'll have setbacks. Days when the anxiety creeps back in, that's normal. Healing isn't linear, it's a dance of progress and pauses. The key is not perfection, but compassion. To treat yourself not as a broken person to fix, but as a human learning to care for their nervous system. 10. You're not alone, even if it feels like it. Anxiety can feel incredibly isolating, as if you're trapped inside your own mind with no way to explain the storm swirling in your chest. It convinces you that no one else could possibly understand what you're going through. But here's the truth. Millions of people live with anxiety every single day. It is one of the most common mental health challenges in the world, touching people from all walks of life. And that means this: you are not weak, you are not broken, and you are absolutely not alone. When we open up about anxiety, the messy, complicated, and often hidden parts of it, we begin to break the silence. Talking about it doesn't erase the struggle, but it does take away some of its power. The more we share our stories, the more we realize that connection and understanding are possible, and that healing often begins with simply knowing we're in this together. The bigger picture. Anxiety is not just nerves. It's not a flaw. It's not something you should be ashamed of. It's a deeply human experience, rooted in survival, shaped by environment, and carried differently by every individual. The truth about anxiety is that it's both a challenge and a teacher. It pushes you, sometimes painfully, to slow down, to care for yourself, and to live more intentionally. And while you may not be able to silence it forever, you can learn to live with it, to calm it, to soften its edges, and to reclaim the parts of life it tries to steal. So the next time anxiety shows up uninvited, remember, you're not alone, you're not weak, and you are stronger than you think.